And
And
the good
it's
thing is, if it really goes bad or you just make a fool of yourself, just turn it off. Done.
whoops, lost contact.
It's not like you're in a restaurant and you got to worry about, skipping out on the bill.
Did you push record?
And welcome back to Second Act TV. We're continuing our conversation with dating coach, dating expert, the founder of Last First Date and the Woman of Value, Sandy Weiner. Sandy, thanks for staying over again.
My pleasure.
Well, we've been having fun talking about this new world of dating, a topic that we thought would be maybe just, the a few months that we'd be talking about it, but this is a topic that's going to stick around for a while. And it's changed the whole world of dating, including how we move from online to actually building a deeper connection. And on this segment, what we want to talk about is virtual date, having a virtual first date. Something that a few months ago was that no, you got to get offline and get out there. Yeah, you had some great ideas that I read in your course. We'll talk about that later. How do you structure a virtual date?
Well, virtual dates are actually something that people are loving because they're seeing that we get to vet somebody without having to sit down to dinner, without having to pay any money, without having to travel. You don't even have to put on deodorant if you don't want to. You just have to look good from
Shave
the
your
waist up.
legs.
That's right. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So you just like show up. So, yeah, I believe after it's sort of the way that the trajectory goes now is meet someone online, exchange a few texts. If you find any connection, get on a phone call or get on a virtual date. So some people skipped right to the virtual date, and some people are actually meeting in person and practicing social distancing, and different places are opening up in different ways. So virtual dates can be anything from FaceTime to Skype to Zoom, whatever you're comfortable with. It really doesn't matter. I used to give out a Google Voice number, which to me was a good way to protect your private information until you were ready to share it. With the pandemic, I like threw that one out the window. I was like, just exchange numbers, get on FaceTime. You can always block somebody if you don't like them and they harass you. So whatever you're comfortable with, and really plan your date just like you would plan anything else. Because if you're not planning it, you're going to end up with a boring conversation, which often happens on first dates anyway. And people ask questions that are irrelevant, like, tell me about your last relationship. Why did it end? These are like very kind of like you're in an interrogation instead of a date, and it could be very uncomfortable. And it doesn't really give you the information you need to see whether you want to go on another date. So you want to make it fun. You want to maybe even tell each other what you're going to wear. Just like I would for a regular first date, I might say, are you going to wear jeans? I want to know what's the dress code. Because, some people honestly would just show up in pajamas and, it's like, I'm going to actually see you. So you might want to put on a shirt, and look a little better than the pajamas. But, you want to prepare some fun conversations around, why, like when you ask somebody what they do for a living, you want to know what do they enjoy about it? Not, I'm a lawyer. I don't really care if you're a lawyer. What I want to know is like, why did you choose law? Or did it choose you? Would you be doing something else if you had all the money and time in the world? You want to know like who they really are at their core. What are their dreams? What are their passions? And, what were they like as a child? Like get into some playful conversation.
Yeah.
You don't want to just get into, so what are you doing during the pandemic? So how do you like this virtual working at home thing? That's a conversation that's really common. And then it gets, it could be a drag.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, I'm eating too much. What's your pandemic comfort food?
Yeah.
We've been baking and cooking a lot. So that's something to talk about. A lot of people are making sourdough bread, so planned a few little conversation starters
You
so
know,
that, because, if the other person isn't prepared, you are.
you know, I need to go back to something you said earlier. You have, I thought it was really funny. What are you going to wear? I thought, to me, that's like an icebreaker. You can really even kind of laugh about that. But you're saying that's something you really need to tell somebody. You mean people are showing up and not realizing, or like maybe we need to cover that. Where do you set up, and where don't you set up? Like in your bedroom or bathroom? I mean, how
Well,
much
that's
detail
important.
do we have to give, Sandy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I have a background here that is furniture I've painted, a wall hanging that I made. This is part of me. That's my book in the corner that I wrote. So I have a lot to talk about here. A lot of people will set up in a dark space with like a window behind them, so they're completely in the dark. Like, you have to really plan, like, how are you going to light yourself so you're not looking horrible.
Yeah.
FaceTime is the worst. If you're holding your phone and you're shaking it and you're looking at from underneath, I in the beginning of the pandemic, I had calls with men, and they were, it's like all the double chins and the it's just like, I don't want to see that, and I don't want to see the phone moving around. So, like, I have a little tripod here. This is a little phone tripod. These are not expensive to get, and you could put your phone in a tripod and hold it, horizontally, and be able to talk without moving your phone, and put it at a height that works so that it's flattering. Do some test video chats with friends and see how you look. Make sure you have good lighting. You could go by an open window if you don't have good lighting, but don't have lighting coming from the side or underneath so you look like ghostly or shadowed. I have a special clip-on camera. You probably have one also, an external camera on my computer.
Well, you just bring up such important information, because, like, look, for somebody like me, that just is automatic. I'm in production, but yes, that's something that needs to be pointed out. And it's
Yeah.
funny, and I mentioned this story. I think I was talking to Robert Mann. It doesn't matter. But when I first started dating Paul, and we met, we started with a long distance relationship. Because I was still in Texas, and so he wanted to Skype. We decided to do a Skype date. We decided to watch a basketball game together on Skype. And this was years ago, so we were ahead of our times on this virtual date. But I took the time, and the reason I'm telling the story is because can be applied to today, to to create like a set where the way I wanted to be seen, and with lights. And then I had a Skype call with my niece, because I hadn't done Skype. I wanted to make sure I looked good. And I had met Paul, of course, very good looking guy. And when he came on, he had his like camera right here in the dark. Like you said, and I'm thinking, that was Paul.
Right.
And when
Right.
I
So if,
think
if
about
you
that
hadn't
now,
met him, right.
yeah, if I hadn't met him, I don't know that I would
Yeah.
have.
And that's the make or break moment, right? But you took the time, and that's beautiful. And I honestly, it is a lot like long distance dating. I dated men years ago on Skype as well. I remember I used to work in summer camps, and I'd be away the whole summer, and I was still dating. So I would meet men who I couldn't see for a month or two, and we'd have Skype dates. And there was one adorable guy who told me he was French, and he doesn't drink water, he drinks wine. So he was going to bring his wine glass, and he wanted me to pick a tie. So he had a whole rack of ties behind him that I should pick one for him to wear. It was like really cute. So there's a way to connect in a creative way. If you put a little bit of attention into this, then it's going to yield much better results. Just imagine somebody rejects you because your camera was held wrong, or
Right.
you were in the dark, or
It
you're
can be
fuzzy.
really bad. You can really look bad on camera. In fact, we're going to be doing a video about that. Just some do's and don'ts, about looking good on camera. So some people are really intimidated being on camera, or even with that whole process, especially in our age group. This is something that for the most part, is new within the last 10 years. And now to apply it to your life, to meeting the new partner, it can be very intimidating. What are some tips you can give on setting up, a Zoom date, or I call it Zoom, that kind of like Kleenex, they're getting the brand recognition, but a video date that, where you can at least relax into it easier. That's not so intimidating.
Yeah, so I share a lot of this in the course. There's a game called Would You Rather, and it's now available. There are a lot of games that are now available on virtual, and with Zoom you can share a screen. You can also do it with Skype and with Facebook Messenger, with like a lot of the virtual, I think with FaceTime too. And so you bring up this game and you ask, would you rather, brush your teeth with charcoal, or I don't know, like it's just funny things, but it's like, would you rather do this for the rest of your life or do this for 5 minutes? And you learn a lot about somebody, the values they have, the choices they make, without it being an interrogation again. And so I love doing things like that. Cooking together, on a future date, like you watched a game together. People that Netflix has an app where you can watch together, or you could be watching shows and then discuss them together. It's like you can think of so many things. There's, wine and paint parties. They have those virtually now. Like you can actually buy a ticket and take a class online, and you could compare your funny paintings. And it's like, just jump in there. I give tons of ideas, but I think that we have to get over ourselves. I think there's a lot of limiting beliefs around, well, I'm too old for this. I've never done it, so I'm bad at it. I don't know how to manage technology because I was born, after whatever, before. It's just, we can really limit ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think we have to really open our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And look at all those beliefs, put them out on the table. Like, what are your beliefs? Oh, you believe this, and how do you know that's true? Have you tried it? Have you tried it this way? So I encourage people to just throw caution to the wind, get out of your comfort zone, try some fun things, like just have fun, take all the pressure off of dating. This doesn't have to be like, I have to find the love of my life. I'm going to practice showing up on screen. I'm going to practice connecting with people differently than I ever did.
Because it's going to be part of our lives for a long time to come. And the good thing is, if it really goes bad or you just make a fool of yourself, just turn it off. Done.
Oops, lost contact.
It's not like you're in a restaurant and you got to worry about skipping out on the bill.
Right.
Oh, well, Sandy, thank you. I always love talking to you. I know that our viewers love your advice. You've had, thousands of views on this channel. So thank you for coming back. I'm sure that there are going to be more occasions for us to be talking because people are, as we said in the first segment, we'll link to all those. There's a hopelessness out there, and it doesn't need to be if we change our mindset and have the right attitude. So again, thank you. We will link to all of your information to your course, which deals with exactly this topic. We'll see you then on our next segment of Second Act TV. Bye-bye, Sandy.
Bye.
If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.